Yes, I'm back. I know, I just did this, didn't I? But I figured I wanted to do a 2-for-1 since I don't usually get a lot of opportunity to do these. So, I was trying to think of something that I could do kind of like a series as a normal thing to do in between buying stuff and contest entries. So, I've told this before to you guys, but I don't play records the way normal people do. Well, I don't mind normal, but the way most people do. That and I've been doing this since I was a kid. I play one song off of each record in a certain point on the record. Play through the entire collection, go back to the beginning and play a different song in the same spot. So I know what I've played and haven't played. And I've done that since I was a kid. And it's not that I don't like listening to full albums, because in the car, CDs I pretty much just listen to full albums. So I do that, but I enjoy variety more. And I like the concept of radio, it's just that radio's playlist is really tiny. And this isn't. So I get a lot more variety that way. So, I figure, get the most bang for my buck as far as variety goes, I do these sets. So I figured I'd bring you into the world of my sets, and it gives me a chance to talk about different albums that I have, and give you an idea of different styles of music that I have strewn out through my collection, and how I get that pretty much every time that I pick a set. Now, for this group, I'm not going to get through the whole thing, but each set is basically an album from each cubby. And there's records in like 45 of them, I believe. So it's basically 45 albums. And I usually start from left to right, skip through artists, and then artists that have more than one of, I just pick one by that, and then when I go back through that cube again, I get the next one from that artist until eventually I run out and start over and do a different song. Now currently, I started this set kind of goofy because I want to do something different. It's the very beginning of this set, I actually played the last song on side 2. When I got through that, I played the first song on side 2. When I got through that one, I played the last song on side 1. And I just got through that recently, and I'm starting the first song on side 1, which isn't necessarily the most exciting one to pick, because a lot of the overplayed radio hits seem to be first on the album for some reason. So I'm going to hit a little more of the derogatory hit stuff in this set. But there's still a lot of cool tunes by bands that weren't popular, or jazz artists, what have you, that I'll get to hear. First songs usually tend to be really good, so it will be a good set. It's just there's going to be a lot of common stuff that I kind of sick of. Speaking of which, my first one I pulled for this set was this. Now, as great as this album is, and it is great, I don't need to hear Dirty Beats done dirt cheap again. I'm sorry. And it's the first song inside one. So, I'll sit through it again, but I won't play it again until I come across this. If it comes on the radio, goodbye. Go somewhere else. I don't like getting sick of songs that I like, and this is one I like, and I don't like getting sick of it, so I try to avoid it as much as I can. Next one is a group called Arc. Don't know a lot about this group, other than if anybody familiar with Crack the Sky, they're on the same label, Lifesong, and the main character in Crack the Sky, John Palumbo, produced this album. There's actually a few songs that John himself wrote, besides the band tunes. And in fact, there's one song called Good Child Gone Wild that's on a Crack the Sky album that came out 3 years after this one. But it's a pretty decent listen. It's late 70s, semi-commercial. It's not real commercial. A little quirky, but there's some good tunes on here. And the first song here I played already. It's called I Feel Beautiful, and it's a good tune. So this is a promo. You see the thingy on there and the stamp, and it even comes with a little promo insert thingy about the band. Of course, it doesn't really say much, other than they're from Long Island. And then there's these goofy pictures. Then here's one for, if you look at it again, dumb cover of the universe. They're sliding it on one of those stupid slide thingies. So I don't know who came up with that cover idea, but really. It makes them look cheesier than they really are, They're not Bay City Rollers. Okay, next one, Backstreet Crawler, 2nd Street. Now, Backstreet Crawler was the band that Paul Kossoff, the original guitar player from Freeform, after Free broke up for the last time. Now, Kossoff was notorious for having lots of drug problems, and it affected his playing and him showing up to gigs and recording sessions. This was the last album that was recorded before he passed away. So I did find out that he didn't play a lot of the rhythm on this. There was another guy that came in and covered the parts. He came in and did the solos. Now, if you listen to the solos, you can tell it sounds like Kossoff. So he definitely did the solos on it. So anyway, after Kossoff passed away, the band basically got a different guitar player and carried on as the Crawler on a different label, and made 2 more albums and then split up after that. So there's that. Back, picture sleeve, picture of the band, and it's on your usual yellow action. Next one I got for you is Bedlam. Now this was the band that Cozy Powell formed after the Jeff Beck group broke up. With 2 brothers by the last name of Ball. The brother Dave, the guitar player, did play with Procol Harum for a little while, and actually plays the guitar solos on the hit version, live version of Conquistador, if you listen to it. That's actually Dave Ball playing on there. And it's mid-70s hard rock. It's good stuff. The singer's a good singer. And there's the back, and you can see Cozy's right there. And this lasted 1 year, and then after that, let me see, what did he do after that? I don't remember. So he did solo stuff. He made a solo album or 2 and some singles, and then joined Rainbow after Richie Blackmore canned the rest of the group Elf after the first album. He joined Rainbow in '76. So that's that. And that one's on the Green Chrysalis label. Next one, a group called Blackstone. This is early 70s epic. Early 70s hard rock type stuff, a little on the soul bass. Now this guy right here, if you take away the mustache and the glasses, you might recognize him from the E Street Band. That is Max Weinberg, Bruce Springsteen's longtime drummer. He's the only guy from this band that did anything. But this album came out, I'm guessing, in 70. So this is a few years before he finally got to hook up with Springsteen. But this is not a band listen. It's on the yellow epic. The usual. And so that's that one. Next one I don't have much information about. They're called Brass Monkey. Interesting candle holder there. It's kind of like somebody found that at an antique shop, and they were thinking of a name, and they stared at the candlestick and said, "What's color says Brass Monkey?" Yeah. Anyway, so not much. I don't know much about these guys. I don't know even know who's in the band because it doesn't say, and I couldn't find anywhere online to find out who was in the band. But they were one of the groups that was on Rare Earth Records back in the 70s. There's the label. And it's kind of like Rare Earth, maybe a little more poppier, soul-based rock. So my brother had this a long time ago. I remember being instrumental. I really liked down here, and so I found a copy recently. Now onto a jazz album, Canonio. This is kind of like Latin jazz, mid-80s. It's pretty good. It's kind of like a Latin Spyro Gyro kind of thing. I don't know much about these guys either. This was one of the promos I got when I worked at the record store. So there's the promo cut in the bottom. And on your passport jazz label, and it's pretty much Latin influenced, that pop kind of jazz stuff. Oh, and the title of the album is Desperately Seeking Fusion. Play on the stupid, well, not stupid, but the Madonna movie. She's not on there though. There's no vocals for her to sing backups on. Now, I also have comedy albums. There's the first Cheech and Chong record. There's a lovely picture on the back and the pecs on that guy. Mr. Cheech Martin, Lemurn, whatever the hell his last name is. We had these albums a lot when we were younger, so we knew all the skits on here and stuff. And there's a blues character called Blind Melon Gillan on here. And we had our own little blues character that we used to use making skits, and his name was Waters Meehan. And he'd kind of, here, I do the blues, you see, and I didn't know what to do next, and so we'd make skits up around this character, and it was pretty funny. Anyway, that's where we got that from. There's a lot of funny stuff on there. You know, Dave's Not Here and all that kind of stuff. Next one. Now, this was a pop rock group called Climax, not the Climax Blues Band. Sonny Geraci was the singer in The Outsiders, the group that did Time Won't Let Me in the 60s. Had a big hit with that. They put a group together. Now, he's pretty much, other than right here where they have a band shot, he's the only one picture on the cover. So I'm not sure if this is a real band or just a studio thing, and they tried to make it look like a band by putting guys together on the back. But the hit off of here was Precious and Few, which is really lame. But there are some early 70s poppy rock tunes on here too, so it's not all lame and wimpy like that one. It's not one of my favorite pop ballads. I mean, I like some light songs, but even that one I don't really dig so much. But there's some better tunes on here. Next one I have is one I don't know much about either and couldn't find much information. It's called Crane. And it features Chuck Crane, who's right here, and He Purdy. Guitar player, singer, kind of in the Clapton vein, maybe a little heavier, a little more rocky, but still, you know, a little blues, a little soul influence in there. But at this point, in the late 70s, Clapton is a little on the slow hand, mellower side, and this guy's a little more rocky. So here's the band they put together around him now. It's another one where it almost seems like it's not a real band. They just kind of put people around them, because there's other guys that play on the album besides the ones that are actually in the picture. So it's one of those deals. But I like the cover. The cover's really cool. Big Crane. And there's a really good cover of Why Does Love Have to Be So Sad by Dark on the Dominoes. There's your Clapton reference. So that one's cool if you ever come across one. Spencer Davis. There's some 60s British music for you. The first American album, Give Me Some Lovin'. Album's in good shape. The cover's a little ragged, but you know, it's more about the record. And it's original on United Artists. And I don't need to say much about it. Everybody knows who they are. Next one's Dr. John. Most people know who Dr. John is. This is the album, In the Right Place. That's probably his biggest hit. Most people know is Right Place, Wrong Time. And besides the fact that this has a really cool cover, this folds out 3 ways. I love album covers. It features the group The Meters, the instrumental soul group from New Orleans that I've loved since I was a little kid. And they back him up on this album, so that really makes me dig this one even more than usual. So there's your Dr. John. Now this one, yes, I'm going to show this. I like some lighter stuff. Worst cover on the planet. Has 2 of their biggest hits in the world. Really Love to See You Tonight and Nights Are Forever Without You. It's your kind of Texas version of Seals and Crofts. But a couple things you gotta love about these guys is they took a Todd Rundgren tune and sent it up the charts, which Todd deserves more than he ever got. And in the late 60s, these guys were actually in a really cool psych pop rock band called Southwest FOB that I have on CD and have it with me. And had a psych tune called Smell of Incense that was really cool as a hit. So they did more than just this kind of stuff. But, you know, thrift store finds. And it's not bad for what it is. And like I said, I usually don't play full albums. It's a great thing about not playing full albums. You can appreciate more albums that aren't great as a whole if you're just playing a song at a time instead of listening from beginning to end. Albums that aren't that strong, you can appreciate them in small segments mixed in with other stuff more than you can if you listen from beginning to end. And albums like that's a perfect example. You know, if I had this and only listened to full album, I probably wouldn't keep this. But because it's a good variety mixed with everything else, it works. So that's what I do. Next one is Flash. I find this is funny because I think this is from a library. This is the discard book print stamped on here. And it's actually from Agnes High School, which is pretty funny because I don't think this is St. Agnes on the cover, if you know what I'm saying. But the record's in good shape. And it's on the red label Sovereign. It's even got Agnes High School stamped on here too. Gatefold. Now Flash is the original guitar player from Yes. Peter Banks. And Tony Kaye, the original keyboardist, played on this one. They put out two more after this that Tony Kaye left to form another band called Badger. So the second and third albums are just guitar, bass, vocals, and drums. This actually has a keyboard player too. They're all very good, but this is the one that sounds more like Yes than the three of them. So, good album. Come across that one, that would be a good one to pick up. This next guy has a group called the Rippingtons that started in the mid-'80s and is still going today in some version or not. Kind of a mainstream Spyro Gyra kind of jazz group. This is his first solo album that was on a small label called Brainchild, and I got this as a promo when I was working at the record store. He's gotten to be fairly well known in the jazz world, but this is actually the first record that he's ever made, and it sounds like the Rippingtons. But it's very cool that I have this. There's a little kind of real black and red kind of looking thing. So it's kind of cool to have something rare like that. I don't have a lot of rare records. Alright, we'll do a couple more because it's getting to be about 20 minutes, and then I'll continue on later in another video. Gillan Glory Road, his third Gillan album. After he broke up the Ian Gillan band, that was more of a fusion, jazzy, progressive thing. He put together this band, which ended up being more of a hard rock band. This is the American version on RSO. Third solo album by this group, and it's really good, heavy rock. They kind of get lumped in the new wave of British heavy metal bands towards the end of their existence, and of course at the end of this, Ian went on to sing Sabbath for the one album, and then back to Deep Purple again. But this is a good album. And then, let's finish with G's. Now, everybody knows who the Guess Who are. I got this years and years ago. Now, the thing about the Guess Who, before Weakfield Soul and These Eyes, the only legitimate Guess Who album that came out in the U.S. was called Shakin' All Over. It was put to go with the hit Shakin' All Over, their first real hit, which came out in the mid-'60s. After that, there was just a bunch of compilations of songs that were released in Canada that weren't released here, that came out on a bunch of goofy different labels. So this is the only one I have that's like that. It's just called The Guess Who, and this is the cover. I don't know what drugs they were on when they did this cover, but I guess Who That Is or something. And then it's kind of like the opposite version of all of that. And this is just a comp of a bunch of the tunes from the 60s before, you know, These Eyes came out. And it came out. It's on MGM. So I must have got the rights to these tunes at that point. And I kept it. You know, I've got these songs on other things, and I have CDs of the first 3 original Canadian albums. And some of these songs are on there. There's a couple that aren't. But I kept it because it's different. Okay, so we're about 20 right now. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of my variety as far as what's up there, styles and types of stuff that I listen to. And at some point I'll do another one and show you a bunch more. And I figure this is a good way to show you a bunch of the stuff in my collection by showing you albums from my sets. So I'll take off, and everybody have a great day and week or whatever, and I'll talk to you later.